Hi everyone and welcome to my Stampin' Studio. I'm Tina Rappy and I want to thank each and every one of you for participating in my $1,000 party. Every one of you received a shopping spree and as promised a card kits to make 3 separate cards. So this video is going to show you how to make all 3 cards and I hope you enjoy them. Let's move on over to the stamp table and get started. To start out with, we're using some of the Flowers for Every Season Designer Series paper, and this is a 3 by 3 inch piece. And then I just have a piece of Whisper White, and this measures 3 inches by, oh, I don't know, this one's probably about 5 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these on top of one another, and I want to make sure that with the print that the flowers are the right side up. So with this one, it's not super critical which way it goes, but I'm going to say like this is probably best. I'm going to line this up along the top edge, and then I'm using the Stitched So Sweetly dies, and I am going to use this largest scallop rectangle. This is going to go right up at the top. Okay, so that we have like about a 1 inch spot here where there is no designer paper. I'm going to run this through the Big Shot. And then this is what we end up with. Okay, so we have on the designer paper, 3 sides have the scallopy stitched border, and on here, all 4 do. And this is going to get attached right on here. But before I do that, I want to do the stamping. And I'm going to use the stamp set Many Mates. So one thing that I think is so cool about this card, you can use this same exact layout over and over and over again and use some of the different prints from the Flowers for Every Season designer series paper. Swap out the ribbon, and if you use the Many Mates stamp set, which is what I'm using here, you have sentiments for everything. You've got sentiments for the outside, thinking of you, get well, happy birthday, anniversary, celebrate, and you also have sentiments for the inside of your card. I love that. So I'm going to use Memento ink, and we're going to do a birthday card here. And I'm first of all just going to set this up here, and then stamp this down in the white area below. Okay, just like that. Now, the reason I wanted to stamp this before I put it on, let's say I got a smudge or something didn't work right, I could turn this around and I have a second shot on it down here. Okay, but it turned out just fine. And now we're going to get our adhesive and secure this piece right down on top. There we go. Next, I'm going to use some of the gingham ribbon. And this is the, oh my gosh, I'm just drawing a blank on what color this yellow is. Bumblebee. Honeybee was in my head and I knew that wasn't right. So Bumblebee gingham ribbon, and I'm just doing it across here. So I'm going to say this is about a 4 inch piece. I'm going to cut this off. And then on the back side, we'll put some adhesive. I'm going to wrap this right around here, just above the sentiment. Okay, like that. And then I want to take and tuck a little more underneath here, and I'm just going to tie this in a knot. So I find it's easier doing it this way rather than taking and wrapping a whole entire piece around the whole thing and trying to keep it in place while you're tying the knot. So I just do it in 2 little steps. Okay, so we have this. And next I'm going to attach this to a piece of basic black. I think what I want to do now, I just decided this right now, is I want to try and color in those letters. All right, so I am using Light Mango Melody. Okay. All right, so let me get that stuff out of the way. And next we're going to work on the card base itself. So I have Thick Whisper White, and this is 11 inches by 4 1/4. Down here on the bottom, this is another one of the prints from the Forever Flowers for Every Season. This is going to go down here on the lower edge. And this piece measures 4 inches by 3 inches. You will be able to find all of the measurements and the full supply list on my blog, and that is stampinstudio.com. Okay, so we have this. This is going to go on top, and we're going to pop it up with some dimensionals. So out of each piece of designer paper, for the front, you can get 4 out of it because the paper is 6 by 6, and the other print here that we're using on the bottom, this measuring 4 by 3, you'll get 2 out of a sheet, and then we're actually going to use some of the scrap for the inside. So there's the outside. Isn't that cute? I really like that. Okay, here on the inside, so the outside is Happy Birthday, and on the inside we are going to stamp. This calls for a huge celebration. Okay. And then, just get this back. I'm going to put some adhesive on the back here. And this is going to go right down to the very bottom edge. And this is about 3/4 of an inch tall and 4 1/4 inches wide. And then I have just the tiniest strip of basic black. It measures about 1/8 of an inch, and again by 4 1/4. Okay. And by just putting, whoops, I'm sorry, you can't see that. So there we go. And by just putting that little band across the bottom edge here, it just really makes it pop. So isn't that cute? So again, using many mates, you've got the outside words, you've got the inside words. You could certainly substitute for any stamp set that you have. This is just one that I've been going to a lot lately because of its versatility. And then again, the Flowers for Every Season Designer Series paper. Pick a ribbon and go with it, and you're good to go. Okay, so we are going to start out using the Sentiment from Forever Fern stamp set. And this is To a Friend That Makes Me Smile. And so, just get some grid paper under here. I've got Highland Heather ink, and I want to stamp it off once just so that it's not as bold of a color. And I'm going to stamp that on here. This is just a piece of Whisper White, and then I'm going to use my excuse me, my 2 1/4 inch circle punch and punch that out. That is all the stamping that happens on this card. So let me close this up and get this out of the way. Next, I've used the Small Blooms punch, and I have punched out 6 of these little flowers. So let's get all of this stuff straightened out here. And the next thing, we'll just get all of our pieces together here. So we have this, we have the, where'd my other ones go? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 flowers. And what I did is I took a bone folder and I just curled up the edges of the flowers. So I've done that on the other ones already, so you don't have to sit and wait for me to do that. Okay. Next, I have a piece of Whisper White cardstock that I have run through the brick and mortar embossing folder, and that's this one here. So I ran it through, so we've got that good texture on it. And now we are almost ready to assemble. And then next I used this die, the leafy die, from the Forever Flourishing dies, and I am cutting that out on soft seafoam. And so then this is what we get. So let's start by doing a little bit of assembly here. So with the brick and mortar embossed Whisper White, we're going to put that on a card base of Purple Posy. Then this is going to go on here, but not quite yet. With this ferny thing that we cut out, what I want to do is I want to cut off this top portion here. So we're going to cut off, you see how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bunches of leaves? So we want, this one is going to go up here. And then what we have left is kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4 bunches of leaves. And with this, I want to cut it right there. And then, so I've cut it just beneath where the two gather together. And then here you can see how this is sort of two that have leaves that have merged together. I want to cut that out separately. So we have this piece. So we're using the top section, the middle section, and this bottom section we're going to be using on the inside. So I'm going to cut this apart. And then just right here where I just got done snipping that part off, I'm just going to trim it to look a little bit more like a leaf. And so, like that. And like that. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside for the inside of the card. All right, so what's going to happen here is I am going to tuck that under there, and this is going to go under here. Okay, so I want to put dimensionals on this. Oh, I'm out of dimensionals on that sheet. Here's a few left here. Okay, and then I want to put some adhesive on here as well, so I can see where my words are. I'm going to peel off the dimensionals, and between the dimensionals and the Stampin' Seal that I put on here, this is where I'm going to stick my leaves. Okay, so one right up there. And one down here. About like that. Okay, so we've got it on there, and then I'm going to stick this on. I'm actually going to move this one just a little bit. There we go. And we want our words to be straight on there. Okay, so this is what we have right now. Then I have one of the gold hoops, and this is from the Forever Fern Suite. And so is the stamp set and the Forever Flourishing dies. And I am going to pull off a glue dot and just kind of roll it. I'm going to do that with a couple of them here, maybe 3. Just roll them right up into a little bitty tube. And then stick these on the back side, because we are going to put that over the circle that we stamped the sentiment on. There we go. So I have 3 little glue dots on there, and this is going to go right on there. Doesn't that just really make it pop? It's cute. Okay, and then with the little flowers that we have curled up the edges, we're going to use glue dots on the center of each of those, and we are going to put them around the edge of the gold hoop. like that. And then I'm going to use some of the metallic pearls. And I want the gold ones because our hoop is gold. And so we're going to tie things together. Whoops, that's stuck on my finger. Well, let's grab another one here. And this is going to go in the center of each flower. And there's that. Okay, so that's the outside. Now we're going to do a little bit on the inside. And here what I did, I have another piece of Whisper White, and I have run this through the brick and mortar embossing folder by putting it in just to here and then running it through the machine. Okay, so if you look closely, you can see that it is embossed from here down. And then what I'm going to do is I have just a 1/4 inch strip of the Whisper White, and I am going to attach this just over, just above where the embossing stops. Let's do it this way. And this is going to be, it's like a brick wall, and this is the cap on the brick wall. That's sort of the look I'm going for. Now, do you remember these two other little pieces that were from the die that we used? So let's get the glue dots back out here. Let me find the end where they're at. Here they are. I'll put one there and one there, just on the back sides. And we are going to have some greenery hanging off the wall and one up. And then we have the 6th flower, so 5 are on the outside, 1 is on the inside, and that's going to go right there. Now on this one, I don't want to put any of the pearls because that's going to add more depth to the inside, and we don't want it there. And then this is going to get attached to the inside of the card. And then you've got plenty of room up here to write your sentiment, and you're good. Now, okay, so for this card, the sentiment that I used is from the Country Home stamp set, and it's, "You are the happy to my day." And certainly you could use any stamp set with this, but what I think is the coolest feature of this is all of these bright colors, and then you know how I love texture. So each one of these colors is a different texture. And so what I have done is I cut strips of cardstock that are 3/4 of an inch by 3.5, okay? And I have Real Red, Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, Bermuda Bay, and Highland Heather. And I thought I would just save time by having them embossed to begin with. But to show you the ones that I used the little details for the red, ornate flowers for the orange, Parisian flourish for the Daffodil Delight. This is one of the dies from Meadow Moments for the Granny Apple Green. One of the greenery embossing folders for the Bermuda Bay. And then the Highland Heather, whoops. Highland Heather is the tin tile. And again, you could certainly use any embossing folders you have. The idea being having a different texture on each one of them. And then here I have a piece of basic black, and I'm going to measure this because I forget what it is. It measures 3 5/8. Okay, so here's the 3.5 inch mark. It's 1 mark after that, 3 5/8, and this measures 4 7/8. Okay, so that is 1 measurement before the 5. All right, this is truly the trickiest part of all of it, and it's not. You are going to line these up in rainbow order, which is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. All right, And if you can see here, we are just leaving the tiniest of borders all the way around there. So I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive on the back. Okay, so I want the same amount on the side as I have on the top and the bottom. And there we go. So equal amounts on the top and the bottom. Then I have a base of Thick Whisper White, and this is going to go directly on here. Giving us a nice big border all the way around it, like that. Okay, and then here's a little label that I have cut out using the Hippo and Friends, and we're going to stamp the sentiment on that, just using Memento ink. I'm getting this lined up here. Whoop. You are the happy to my day, or certainly happy birthday, or have a great day, or whatever else you like. Okay, last thing here. We need this, and where did I put the punch? Right here. So this is a piece of basic black. It measures 3/4 by 3 inches, and we're using called Lovely Labels Pick-a-Punch. And this is one that will punch out 2 different ends and also in 3 different sizes. So ours is 3/4 of an inch, so it's sitting in this middle track, and you just get it in there and you push it all the way in. Okay, so it's stopping back here. So it's in the middle track, punch, take it out. Isn't that pretty? Now we're going to do the same thing here. Push it all the way in. Whoops. All the way in and punch it. Okay, there's our little label. This is going to go down flat on here. And I want it centered from top to bottom, and then I want it centered between the green and the red. So I'm going to put it right there. Then with our label, we're going to go ahead and put a few dimensionals on the back side of this. I just thought this sentiment was perfect with these bright colors. That's going to go there. And then I have some of the red rhinestones, and I'm going to grab 2 off of here. And it's going to go right on this little label. So what do you think? Isn't that fun? Yeah, I think so. So I hope you were inspired to do some stamping yourself. And if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of my projects, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel by going directly to YouTube and clicking on the subscribe button below the video. And also, if you're wanting any product, I'd so appreciate your business. So please stop by my store at stampinstudio.com. And thanks for taking a little time out of your day today to stamp with me. So until we meet again, enjoy life, stamp something, and eat chocolate. Bye-bye.